Hey everyone, today on my channel we are doing something I call a bundle build. If you are unaware, which I'm sure you are not because The Sims 4 is very expensive, if you go on Origin and you choose to download a new pack, you will get the option to bundle that pack with other packs to save a little bit of money. So this includes buying an expansion pack, a game pack, and a stuff pack. If you get these three together, you save some money. I thought this would be an interesting way to explore building, to see really what you can get for your money, knowing that there are so many packs out there. And I also thought that this might be an interesting way to kind of explore what packs look good together aesthetically if you only want to spend a certain amount of money, but you want packs that are really compatible with one another from a build buy perspective. So that is the angle of this series, and today we are going to be using the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack, the Werewolves game pack, and what is the other pack that we're using? I have to look this up, I'm sorry. I made this build about a month ago, and then I completely forgot that I did it. So I had like 100 gigabytes of footage sitting on my desktop this entire time. How y'all take your coffee? I only drink black, iced. Who is shocked? Raise your hand if you're shocked. Tiny Living. It was Tiny Living. Okay, so what the gallery is telling me is that I use Eco Lifestyle, the Werewolves pack, and Tiny Living. And then I also, something that I allow myself to do in this series, because it's my series, is use a kit. I'm sorry. I know people have opinions about kits. I like kits when they're build and buy. If you ultimately end up being interested in this build, the gallery will also tell you that I'm using The Sims 4 Seasons and Cats and Dogs. It's a lie. I don't know why that's popping up. If there is accidentally some item in here, it's, I promise you, completely inconsequential. I could not find the item. And even when I click through here to look at show used items on the gallery, nothing pops up. So maybe I accidentally used a debug item from one of those packs, but again, it should be totally inconsequential. Anyway, I don't know how I'm going to edit that down. That was a lot. Today, we are creating a Earthship build, but actually we're making 3 of them. First things first, let's talk about what an Earthship actually is. If you're unfamiliar, Earthships are what Wikipedia calls passive solar Earth shelters. So essentially, Earthships were among the earliest waves of thinking around sustainable living. Earthships were designed by somebody named Michael Reynolds, and the first one was made in the, I think, mid-1970s. I think one of the most recognizable aspects of what makes an Earthship is the fact that, one, it's off the grid, but second, it's made using upcycled materials whenever possible. And so what that means is that there's a really strong connection between the aesthetic, the design aesthetic of an Earthship, and also the function of an Earthship. If you end up being interested in this, or if you've seen photos of Earthships in the past, you'll see that they have a very unique look about them. Often they are built directly into the land. This helps regulate the amount of heat that is penetrating through the structure. They're also very, very flat. And one of the, I think, more unique visual elements of many Earthships, especially the earlier Earthships, is that the bearing walls were made using tires. Being that tires are not recyclable, they have a strong structure to them, and when you stack them up, they end up being a really fantastic structural element that kind of ebbs and flows with the Earth as it moves. Very interesting. So, okay, we're really roundabout in this video. So the idea of this build, we're going to be creating 3 different Earthships, all very different from one to the next. And my concept was kind of like, okay, I started working on this before high school years came out, and I was like, all right, so my sim is going to go to high school, they're going to graduate, then we'll go to university, and after we go to university, we're going to look around at our friends and say, fuck that corporate bullshit, and we're going to go out into the middle of the desert and make a little community together. How cute. So that's what we have here. That's the storyline that I had in mind when I was thinking of what I wanted to make. And so we have 3 separate Earthship builds, and then each build has a unique skill building aspect to it. So the first build that we worked on is a artist sim who also is into woodworking. Very helpful for a community like this, obviously. The second Earthship is dedicated to gardening, so this is the sim that I imagine is responsible for all the produce that they live off of and potentially sell. And then the third one, it just has candle making in there, but I figured, that sim probably is making candles for a profit. Also, in my mind, that's the third Earthship is the nicest. Like, they have the nicest materials, the nicest furniture and stuff like that. If there is a nepotism baby in the group, the third Earthship is them. So they make candles and they sell them. So that was the goal here. We have 3 different Earthships, and each one of them contributes something different to the small community of Earthships that we have. So what I've been doing here in the background as I've been talking is working on the first build. So the first one is definitely like the shabbiest of the bunch, and we take a sort of like low, middle, high approach to each of these Earthships. And the first one, definitely has the most found materials, definitely the most side of the road pickups, the most crowdsourced materials. Yeah, definitely, I think also probably looks the most homey, to be honest. And right now what we're doing is just working on the exterior. I use a ton of debug items. And as I mentioned earlier, Earthships are typically built directly into the Earth. So what I had to spend a lot of time doing was using a bunch of debug rocks and plants and bushes and things to try and hide the space between the raised terrain and the walls. And I think ultimately it ends up working out pretty well in the end. You'll see that I think that I was able to pretty much hide that little gap between the terrain and the walls. And one thing too I wanted to make sure was that even though right now we're building in Oasis Springs, I don't think I mentioned that, we're building in Oasis Springs it was previously a community lot. It was a big park. So I felt like that kind of made sense. But it's the biggest lot in Oasis Springs. And even though we're in the middle of the desert, I still wanted this to feel like really lush and really green and like you could really like live out of this space. So there are a lot of bushes around, and then also a lot of areas where plants are being grown. So right now we're working on a small outdoor gardening area. The goal here was to make something that really kind of looked like scrap metal and something that was just pieced together. Between these packs, we have some really cool opportunities to create, builds that aren't as pristine. I think that was missing from The Sims for a long time. The Sims 4 definitely had a very neat and tidy, clean, modern look to it. And with the addition of the packs that we're using today, I think that we now can create stuff that's a little bit more rough around the edges. That was one of my favorite things about the Werewolf pack when it came out. There are objects that have so much wear on them, and there's a big lack of that in all of the content that we have for The Sims 4. Honestly, there are so few objects that look worn down and actually like used by Sims. So yeah, we're just working on the exterior. I thought something really nice to kind of tie these 3 builds together would be one little communal space in the center here. So we have a huge bonfire, just a collection of all the different types of chairs in the game, really leaning into the idea of found objects here. I don't know, maybe like after these Sims finished this massive undertaking of building their Earthship community, one night they just pulled out like some leftover chairs and they made a big bonfire of all the objects that they couldn't use. I don't know. I like the idea of that. And then, okay, I will be up front here. I don't really know a whole lot about water retention. I don't really know a whole lot about harvesting water, so I'm not really sure how feasible it is that there would be a nice little pond sitting over here in the edge of the community. But I thought that it would be nice to have a nice little area for the Sims to come cool down on a hot day. I can't remember if I ended up making that a fishing spot or not, but if not, you could drop that in. That'd be pretty nice too to have on the lot. You can just fish right off the land. Okay, so now we are getting started on the second Earthship. This is our mid-tier Earthship in terms of, assumed expense, I guess. So this Earthship eventually makes use of maybe some higher-end materials. Maybe the Sim was a little bit more well-off, or maybe they just have a better eye than the first Sim. But this Earthship is dedicated to gardening. So as I mentioned, there are going to be a ton of gardening, like plant pots in here. I can't talk. You may have noticed earlier when I was working on the exterior that this Earthship and the final Earthship have glass roofs on the outside. And surprisingly, they are able to be entered by Sims. I didn't know that until I worked on this build and tried it out myself when I realized I could put a door there. But yeah, the glass roof, you can walk into it, and I set them up in this Earthship as gardens. So your Sim can garden in there with no issue, which I thought was really cool. In the bedroom, I created kind of like this built-in headboard bookshelf kind of situation using the bookshelves from the Werewolves pack. I love those bookshelves so much. I actually wish that there were more books on them, but they're so cool because they utilize the pillars that come with the pack. So it's really easy to kind of blend those bookshelves into the architectural elements of your building if you want to. Here, I use them as kind of like a huge headboard. So yeah, really quickly, we're just pulling together a cute little living space before going over to the third and final Earthship. You can definitely tell in this space it's a little bit more elevated. We have some nice leather in here, a little bit more elevated, a little bit more put together. This person has a nice eye at least. And then I also put this like cool mural on the wall, this faded mural, thinking like maybe they had like worked with a local artist, or maybe they were able to like salvage part of that wall or something from a business or something like that. All right, and here we are in the third Earthship, and like I said, this is definitely the nicest, and the layout of this Earthship is a little bit different than the other two. So this is even more open concept, and we'll see a little bit later too, they have a very nice setup for their kitchen and bathroom in comparison to the others. So first we're working on a sunken living space, and then just beside that we have a raised bedroom area. And here I use a lot of the objects from Tiny Living and also reusing the bed. I think that's from the industrial kit. Again, just a different swatch. But yeah, so this definitely, I would say, if somebody was going to West Elm, to get the objects that they weren't able to find on the side of the road, this is the sim that went there. This is the West Elm sim. So like this sim too is even concerned with potential visitors. They have a Murphy bed just in case they have a guest come and stay over. This is the sim that really, is funding the endeavor, I would say. But yeah, and then this is also the sim that is the candle maker. So we're just working on getting everything in place here. Everything is sort of like a high-end concrete. We have some beautiful slate tiles in the kitchen here, and they just have like all the finest, the nicest, the nicest appliances, the stainless steel countertops, beautiful bamboo flooring. They are living in an Earthship, but they have not forgone any of the luxuries of modern life. Let's say that. And now we're just going to work really quickly on the bathroom, which, I mean, if I had this bathroom, so first off, it's pretty big. But second off, there's a little sunken area where we have a huge corner tub in and a shower. And then they also have some nice kind of like built-in cabinetry as well with a full-length wall-length mirror above it. Yeah, listen, this sim is living good, okay? They may be living off the land, but they're still living good. Yeah, so that's my little bundle build today, my Earthship community. This is the second video in this series of videos. The first one that I did was another community lot, but an actual in-game community lot. It was a replacement for the art space in San Myshuno from City Living. So I will link that at the end of the video in case you're interested. But I really like this way of exploring the Sims 4 packs. It's always interesting for me to have constraints on builds and to limit myself in terms of the packs that I can use, or just in general have a very specific direction or objective for a build. Ultimately, I think that yields a better result for me. That's my way of being creative. I think that these packs work really fantastic together. If you are in the market to get new Sims packs and you don't have any of these already, and you're interested in making an informed purchase on packs that work well together, maybe think about this. I think aesthetically they work really well together, and then in terms of gameplay, I think that there is a lot of sort of conceptual overlap between Eco Lifestyle and Tiny Living. So yeah. And, Werewolves pack is great because, again, it has, like, objects that have grime on it. That doesn't exist in The Sims 4. So that's pretty cool. It was fun to play with it. And that is my Earthship community build, y'all. If you like this video, I would encourage you to actually like the video because, first off, I would really appreciate that. That's so nice of you. Thank you. Second, my cat is coughing. Are you okay? You all right, babes? She's all right. She's all right. She's all right. Second, liking this video also tells YouTube that you like this video, and algorithm. If you'd like to see more of this bundle build series, please feel free to subscribe because I'm actually already working on the next one and we'll be posting sometime in the near future. And lastly, if you're interested in downloading this build, it is available on the gallery. My username on the gallery is the exact same that it is here, which is just patrickcreates. No space, no period, no hyphen, no anything. Just patrickcreates. So check it out and let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, that's it. I have no more spiel. Until next time, y'all.